Kim Kral. I am reporting to you not live from my closet. I have realized just now it's not just the anger, because like you know how I get like really like you know how I'm always like really breathy when I come in here on since I've gotten COVID and I have the whole breathing crap that's happened in the last like 6 months at this point. It's like I'm kind of used to it, honestly. I'm used to not being able to breathe and having a headache all the time and being just really tired a lot. It's like I kind of, which is sad because I just kind of don't remember what it was like before. So it's just like, oh, this is just I'm like adapting, right? But I'm like so out of breath. And like today I was like setting up and I was like, oh, I'm in a really good mood. I'm not mad at technology at all. But I realized I'm like, oh, why I get so breathy is because right before I hit record, I do a lot of singing for some reason. And I do a lot of like, bah, 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 bah. Like I get like really like into whatever, like just I get into crawl space mode. I don't know, but it really takes a lot out of me. And I realized literally 4 minutes ago, I was like, maybe you shouldn't be screaming so much right before you start recording for an hour. Maybe that's why you're so winded, not because you can't handle technology. Yeah, but I am taking a deep breath. It's kind of cool. I got the vaccine last week, as I said to you guys, and I was like, all right, I guess I got it Thursday. So I told you I was gonna get it the next day. And I spoke way too soon on Thursday afternoon for like a sweet, sweet hour and a half. I felt the best I'd felt in a long, long time. Like since COVID. I don't really remember what I felt like before COVID. I know that sounds really crazy, but it's just like, if you start to get used to something and you're like, God, I don't remember what it was like to be normal. This is just how I feel now. And for like a shining hour and a half, I felt so fucking good. And I was like, oh my, because a lot of studies are saying that people with long haul COVID who get the shot start to feel better. And then I started to not be able to breathe again. And then I got this fun new sharp pain in my upper back every time I breathed, like a bad one, like where I wasn't able to like, and I felt worse pain before. Like it wasn't like a disc slip because I Googled it and it just said it sounds like it's just inflammation of the lungs, which makes sense. It's now gone, which is good. And my breathing is starting to return to the way it was before I got the vaccine. The headaches are still here, but I don't know, man. I guess there's not. I don't want to be like there's nothing I can do, but I'm like I'm doing everything I can. I'm resting. I'm fine. Like I'm not in the hospital. This thing didn't kill me, and it's just like one day at a time. And maybe right before I record Crawl Space, I should sing at the top of my lungs Alanis Morissette's "You Live, You Learn." I think there's some irony in there somewhere. You live, you learn, and I'm not living or learning. Well, I am living, but I'm not learning. About screaming in my closet for. I'm gonna try and get my buddy Roger. I record myself for a while in my closet before I hit play, or before I record the audio, just because I don't want to forget to record the video. And I'm gonna try and get my buddy Roger to edit it together. He's a really talented editor. He listens to these too. So Roger, Tiger. My phone autocorrects his name to Tiger, and I don't like to change it because it makes me laugh. I'm gonna ask him to do this. He may tell me to fuck off. He probably won't. He's a talented editor, and he's like, I like helping my friends. There's a thing that happened years ago. She doesn't listen to this, I don't think, but someone that I know, he edited her reel, and he was like, I don't know. This is private combo time, Roger Kim. But I was just talking to Roger and my other thing, and I was thinking about him, and he's coming here. Roger, by the way, is the one who supplied all those poop scoop stories, and he says there's more. So he has he probably has as many embarrassing poop stories that I have. And he's also, by embarrassing, like others perceive as embarrassing, but for some reason he and I are like, no, I'll tell everyone. It's totally fine. I think that that's how it should be. I don't understand people who are afraid of this, right? We all poop our pants. I mean, like, I'm not like pooping my pants all the time, but like we all do it. Like it's like it all, like, yeah, I've said it once. I'm going to say it a million times. I'm going to make a t-shirt. I'm going to put it on sale on my website. Hopefully this week. I'm trying to figure out a new merch system because I don't really like the one that I have now. The quality is all right, but I feel like the masks kind of piss me off, and I had a whole plan for today, and I have so much giddy energy that I was like, oh, I can't do that episode. I'll either make that an extra episode or I'll do it next week. But so I'm like, I'm like in a really good giddy mood, right? But when I met Roger, so I met Roger and Dave, our other best friend. He's my best friend's husband. So the four of us are best friends. And then there's a whole group of people that used to come in to Big Wings where Katie and I used to work. And Dave owns the restaurant down the street, Kitchen 24, and we all had a crush on him, which is so funny. This is like my favorite love story. We all had a crush on the owner of Kitchen 24, and he would come in every Sunday on football Sunday, and he would bring us cupcakes and milkshakes, right? Like every Sunday he'd bring us a treat, every bartender and waitress. And we all were like, Katie, the Kitchen 24 guy is in love with you. And she's like, no. And we're like, yeah, girl, he does not bring those treats for us. He brings the treats for you, but brings a bunch so it doesn't look like he's just bringing you a cupcake every Sunday. And she's like, I don't think so. And then one Sunday she was out of town and Dave comes in with his, like, 24 cupcakes or however many of us there were, like a dozen cupcakes. And he's all hopeful and excited. He goes, where's Katie? And we were like, oh, she's out of town for the weekend, man. And he was like, and the disappointment on his face, he was like, oh, I brought you guys cupcakes, and just walked away. It was like, we told you that guy's in love with you. And now they're engaged, have two babies, and they are my favorite couple. But when we first met them, it's like this wonderful group of people that are now some of my best friends in the world. But when I first met them, I was just the Eagles waitress, right? So I was never their waitress. I was just the Eagles waitress, and I just, say hi to them or whatever. And they were cool people, and I wanted to be their friends. By the way, like their waitress Stacy, she and I would always talk about how we like really how we longed, almost said how we longed to be their friends, but we kind of did. Like they seemed like people that like just had each other's backs, like supported each other, loved the fuck out of each other, and always did really fun shit. And I will tell you, now that I am friends with them, the longing was correct. I was correct to long to be their friends. They are some of the best people I've ever met in my life, and a lot of them I call my family now. So it's just funny how this was like 8 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. I don't know how long ago. I don't understand time. Time is not real, my friends. But so like when I first met them, Roger and Dave and their friend Courtney and our friend Courtney called me Jen. And the first time they called me Jen, I couldn't tell if they said Jen or Kim, because it's a loud bar and it's 3-letter word and they're kind of similar, right? Like, so I just didn't know. And then, but they kept calling it, and I still couldn't tell if they were calling me. And then one night I was bartending, and it was like dead, but I was with another bartender, and they came in, they got a couple drinks, and then when they left, they're like, "Bye, Jen, we'll see you soon." And I was like, "Bye, guys." And they're like, "See ya." And then the bartender looked at me. He goes, "Did they just call you Jen?" And I was like, "Yeah, like too much time has passed. Like I've been friends with them now for like 3 months, and they've been calling me Jen for 3 months. And I don't know when the appropriate time, like I'll just look like a weirdo now if I'm like, actually it's Kim." And they're like, too much time has passed. So I was like fully prepared to have these people call me Jen for the rest of time. I know that's totally insane. That's totally insane. And so one afternoon I was waitressing, and I was behind the waitress station. It's football season, or yeah, football Sunday. And Roger comes around the waitress station, and he looks at me like I am in a bunny suit, and he goes, "Your name isn't Jen?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, it's Kim." He's like, "Why didn't you tell us that?" And I was like, I don't know. I felt too weird about it. And he goes, "I introduced you to people as Jen. You literally shook people's hands and said, 'Nice to meet you. I'm Jen.'" And I was like, I know, I was like a hole I had dug myself into that I didn't think I could dig myself out of. And I just was like, I guess my name is Jen. Like, I guess these people are just going to call me Jen. And thankfully that didn't freak him out enough, because now we're like best friends. But I definitely have judged people. One girl I knew, her name was Gita, and I called her Geta for like 3 months, and then eventually someone corrected me, but she didn't. And for like 2 years, I was like, I thought it was just super. I just like looked at her different. Like, she's a cool broad, and I like, we have no beef, and I love her. And if she's listening to this, we were like 25. So I hope you're not. If you're listening to this and you're like, "What a bitch," we were 25, but I judged her for like 2 years that she didn't correct me for her name. So if I was Roger, I would have judged me for just going along with Jen, because I was just like, well, I guess I don't know else to do. I felt weird correcting him. I don't know. My self-worth journey and my, all that stuff has has come a long way, because now I would just be like, yo, my name's actually Kim, but back then I was like, I don't want him to not like me. Just so crazy. Which I like, by crazy, I'm not being like, you dumb bitch. I have so much compassion for my younger self. Myself for yesterday, like the only thing I want to do is just be better today than I was yesterday. Dude, I've had a weird, not a weird couple of days, but just like a growth couple of days. I've had some conflicts with some people that are very near and dear to me. And I've had to set some boundaries and say like shit that bothers me. And it's really uncomfortable. And I have a voice in my head. One of my defects of character, if you will, is that everything is black and white, and I will just burn it down and walk away. Like everything, like I had a conflict with a very, very dear friend of mine. And that voice was like, well, I guess that's that, huh? Like, I guess that's done with her. I guess we'll just cut ties and leave. And then my male friend, we were having some communication stuff, and I was fully prepared to just like block him and never talk to him again. And the good news is, one, I have healthy people in my life that I can talk to, mainly my cousin. Guys, I have this cousin that I talk to, and I've talked to almost every day since I got COVID. And I talk like that. I just think about how fucking lucky I am that we got so close. There's this in my ACA program, it talks about how if you work the program, you'll find changes in your relationships, even with your family and your parents. And like the ship is kind of sailed with my parents. One, because the one died, and then the other one is, I don't know where she's at, but she's, but like the ship sort of sailed with my parents, but my family, it really has. Like, that promise has come true. Like, I have family members that I'm just like really close to. And my cousin Maggie, I hope I don't know if she listens to this. I mean, I guess I'm saying good things, but she's so vulnerable. It's like, but I'm just so grateful for her. And I want to tell her all the time, but I feel like that's creepy. Like, I'm really grateful for you one more time today. But like, I'm lucky that I have her in my life, because I called to tell her about how I wanted to end my relationship with this new guy. I know it's not like I'm not buying a wedding dress or anything, which I think I told him that the other night. I'm like, don't, but I like, I mean, it's a blooming new thing that it's really important to me, and I really care about this person. And I was like, well, I'm gonna burn it down. And she was like, well, hold on. And it just like, it's so cool to have people in your life that are healthy and have perspectives that I don't have, but aren't like, don't shame me for having that. And also, the cool part too about how my brain works now, since all of the work I've done, the only voice used to be burn it down and walk away. That was the only voice. Like, it was so loud that was the only one I heard. So I would just burn it down and walk away. If something happened that I didn't like, instead of like talking to the person and like setting a boundary, I would just fucking burn it down. It would just be like, well, that's that. We're not friends anymore. And now the voice is still there, but it's quieter. And the other voice that is like loving and like, hey, why don't we do this, is, even though I have no idea what the other option is, I now have people in my life that are healthy that I can talk to about how I'm feeling, and they can see another side that I'm not necessarily able to see in a moment of anger. And they're able to like talk to me in a loving way. And I'm grateful I have the mind frame now that I'm receptive to that, because before it was just like, nope, it's, and my cousin also pointed out, it's good to have the burn it down, walk away voice, because there are relationships that you do need to burn down and walk away. There are relationships that are unhealthy, that are not good, that you do need to burn it down and walk away. And so, but it's just like, I think the struggle I have is differentiating between the two, right? And the last couple of days, I've had to have a couple of talks with people that, my guy, that we are starting building a new relationship. I'm so insecure talking about it. I don't think he listens to this. I think I've told him not to listen to it, only because, and he respects boundaries, so like, I've never had feelings for someone that respects my boundaries. I know that sounds really crazy, but guys, I grew up in a lot of dysfunction. So if you didn't respect or if you respected my boundaries before, I thought that if you weren't all codependent and intertwined with me, I didn't think you loved me. But this man respects my boundaries, and which is really funny because sometimes I'm like, blah blah blah, and he's like, you told me not to. I'm like, God damn it, I did, and God damn it, you for listening. But it's really sweet, and I'm blown away that this is happening. But what was I saying? I can't believe I'm gonna be on time today. An alarm went off and I'm about to sneeze. I'm really sorry if it happens in here, then that's just the way it goes. And I don't, if I stop it in the middle of sneezing anyway. So, um, I don't know if he listens to this. I don't think he does. I would, no, it's not that I don't want him to support and I don't want him to listen to it. It's just, we're getting to know each other and I'm really intimate on this podcast, and I'd rather, and there are certain things I'm not sharing on the podcast, obviously, because I'm human and I have private things. But I'd rather him hear these stories from me. You know what I mean? Like, he knows that I had a rough childhood. I don't think he knows the extent of it. And I would rather it be a conversation between the two of us. So but what was God, I totally blanked. I literally blanked. I was talking about boundaries and asking for my needs and not, I don't know. I did. So I've had a rough couple of, not rough couple of days, but beautiful, scary couple of days where we had to talk about boundaries and my needs, and they're being met. And communication is really hard. But this is like, it's hard for me to differentiate when I'm scared. Like my cousin, when I was telling her about how I wanted to burn this thing down, she was like, it sounds like you're coming from the voice of self-protection, that you're scared, not like the healthy self-protection, but the self-protection of just being scared to put yourself out there and because you might get hurt. And I was like, oh yeah, that and so it's just it's a daily thing. And the good news is that my healthy voices are getting stronger, and the voice, and again, like, it's good to have the burn it down, walk away. I have a lot of relationships in my life that I've let go in the last year, and it's good that it was, I mean, and I don't really have anybody that I wouldn't. I mean, I'm in the middle of my amends on my program where you make amends to people, and so there's a list of some people that I'm like, oh, if I ran into them in a room, I'd be uncomfortable. And so those people I'm going to be making an amends to. But like, I don't have a lot of people that, like, it's like we had this terrible ending to our relationship. Jimmy the Dragon, I'm not really stoked to ever see again, but I don't think I will. And if I do, I don't know, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I had another talk with a friend that had crossed some pretty heavy boundaries that hurt me. And yeah, my instinct was like, well, that's that. But then the other voice was like, I think we're seeing this wrong. I think we're seeing this with our trauma glasses, and maybe we ought to give someone a call that may be able to see the other side of it. And I made a couple phone calls, and then I was able to have a boundaries talk with this person. And also, like, let me say, like, I know a lot of, like, people are like, well, not everybody accepts your boundaries. You can't make a boundary with an unhealthy person. I stand by that statement. You cannot make a boundary with an unhealthy person, because they won't be receptive to it. Like, they won't, like, someone who's like spiritually sick won't be receptive to a boundary. My father was that way, like, like, loads of boundaries. Like, hey, do you think we can shut the doors when we change and go to the bathroom? And he was like, no, absolutely not. Like, why? Like, insane, right? Yeah, that was another thing we weren't allowed to shut. I started to do it later in life, later in my teenage years, shut the door, and then I started locking it because I was getting braver, and I would get yelled at for locking the door while I was changing, which is wild, fucking wild, dude. That guy's dead though. So, and I'm working through all that trauma and the boundary stuff. And that's of course where it comes from. You know what I mean? Like, where it's just like, I don't want to set a boundary, because when I set any boundaries growing up, I had a guy who was like, no, I need to watch you change, which is fucking Jesus. But I had this lovely talk with a friend the other night, and I also, I'm not taking on anyone's emotions. Like, the words "you're making me feel" happened a lot. And I was like, yo, I can't make you feel anyway. Just like, that's why you use I feel statements, right? Like, it's not like you're making me feel this way. It's like, I feel ashamed that this is happening. And because you choose how you feel, you know what I mean? Like, you can't, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I'm like, I'm so angry and I can't choose to get out of this. But I can choose to take steps that I know will work to help me process something so I won't be angry. Do you know what I mean? Um, yeah. So it's been a wild couple of days of just setting boundaries and not burning things down and getting my needs met, which I believe in the end makes relationships stronger. And I'm not just talking about my male friend. I'm talking about my other friend. It's just like in the end, it makes relationships stronger, especially if boundaries are honored and respected. And I'm grateful that I'm getting to know a guy that does do that. He respects my boundaries and he listens to me. And when I tell him crazy things about how my brain works, he does not judge me. He did the other day. I'm pretty positive my dead grandma is living in my apartment. Hear me out. Hear me out, please. Because like I know this. Okay, did I already tell you guys this? Because I don't know if I did. Um, I will tell you why I think it, and then I will also tell you his response to it, which was like my favorite response ever. Uh, so my grandma died when I was 14, um, which is a wild story. She died in like a very minor surgery where it was like literally we were going to go that night to the hospital, I think, to see her the very next morning. Like it was just like a very minor surgery, and they nicked an artery and she bled out. But I believe, and I'm not ever able to ask any of these questions. My cousin who grew up in the Jehovah's Witness, we're supposed to Zoom at some point, and I kind of want to ask him about this. He isn't a Jehovah's Witness anymore, and he isn't a part of that because he's gay, and they cut him out. That right there, by the way, is the main issue I have with religious people. Right there, like that right there. Like this guy spent his whole life, I think I've already told you this, but he spent his whole life dedicated to this religion and dedicated to this God and these people. And he couldn't come out when he was like, I don't know, in his mid 30s. He came out to me and I was like, yeah, dude, I've known that since we were fucking 5. I love you, whatever. Like, and he was like, yeah, I knew if I had come out, they would disown me. And they did. This kid who had dedicated his whole life to them, they basically told him to fuck off. Actually, they said, if you can come back to us once you stop being worldly. Fucking worldly. I want to be worldly. I'm fucking worldly. You know what I mean? Like that's a cool way to put it, but just like what a fucked up. But Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in, so I might ask him about this because now he knows a lot and he is no longer, he's for sure out of it, right? Um, and which is just that's a conversation for another day. I think I've been pretty clear how I feel about religion and how I feel about the judgmentalness that comes with it. And like, let me be clear, I don't think everybody that believe, like, I don't believe, when I say sky dad, I mean the people that believe that that gay is wrong, women shouldn't have autonomy over their own body, trans rights aren't human rights. Like those are the people I'm talking about that upset me. That's when I say sky dad, like that because it's made up. Like God is real. I believe in God. I believe Jesus was a person. I don't want a son of God. I mean I think he was like, I'm the child of God, and he was just like, you're the child of God. Like I think that's what the guy was saying. I think that he's never talked about being homosexual being bad. He's never talked about abortion at all. And yet they all, like, it's just like, man, for like 2,000 years, you people have just been pushing this like not true agenda. Those are the people I have problems with. I know plenty of people who call themselves Christians, go to progressive churches that I love and I'm close to. And so I hope that it comes across that when I talk about my disdain for religion, I'm talking about this specific, the bigotry and the hatred and the controlling and the, yeah, that is what I'm. So um yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in blood transfusions, and I am 97% positive that they could have saved her life, but they didn't because she doesn't believe in blood transfusions. So the broad died at like 60. We're talking about my grandma again, if you forgot where we were at. I went on a little tangent there. I feel like if you still listen to this, you probably are able to keep up with me because I'm like bing, 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 pow, 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 pow. I did that a bunch before I came on, why I was so out of breath. Uh, but so she died at like 60, which was horrible. It was a horrifying. It's the first death I had ever experienced of someone that I was close to and loved a lot. Little did I know that I was going to experience a lot more. I've experienced I've been to a lot of funerals. Like when I tell people the amount of, I think I've talked about this, but I think that that just means that I've been lucky enough to get to know some really great people, and they just weren't supposed to be here that long, you know? But that was the first real grief I'd ever experienced. Like my great grandma died, you know, like my uncle Buck, Bill, I think he was Buck or Bud. I know I really liked him. I wish I remembered his name. That's terrible. He died when I was like 8, but my grandma, that was the first one that ever, it was very confusing. I remember I had to do this final in this English class. I was a freshman in high school, and we had to do like an oral presentation teaching the class to do something, like even if it was like a simple project, right? And I chose to teach the class how to wrap a present. And I was never really one to be freaked out in front of crowds. Obviously, I'm a comedian. I get nervous, but I would do it. But I was never one to like be freaked out in crowds. And I just remember like I couldn't get the words out. I was just, I got a very bad grade on that final and ended up dropping my grade to, I think, a C or a B. Like I had an A and it gave me a B. Like it dropped my grade, a full letter grade. And I never talked to my teacher about like, hey, my grandma died last night. Do you think maybe we could put a pin in this? I'm sure teachers though hear a lot about grandmas dying that aren't really dying, right? But I just remember like staring out and wrapping the present. Oh, I was like, why am I telling this? Oh, because I think my dead grandma's here. Wrapping the present, and it just like so quiet and I had planned it so well, and I just couldn't get the words out. And like I still think about that. And a voice in my head just now said, Kim, you can let that go now. You can let that go. Like, you know, there's shit in your head that you think about all the time, that you messed up or you said something shitty or you did something that you're not particularly proud of, but it's like little like that, but you like hold on to it. I'm going to give you permission to let that go now. Not just for myself, but you listening. Like we all have some like weird regret that we look back on that we had no control over and we think about a lot. I believe. I don't know. I at least do. You can let that go now. It's not serving you. Like, why am I holding on to this like 14-year-old girl who just lost her grandma memory of that I failed this class? You know what I mean? Like I didn't even fail the class. But so she died at 60, and we were, I mean, I liked the lady, she was really cool, but like there was always like a big barrier between us because she was a Jehovah's Witness and I wasn't. And you know, she gave me a couple presents throughout the years, not on Christmas, not on my birthday, and was just like, oh, I just want you to know I love you. And it was, and you know, and she taught me how to play Speed. We used to play Speed, you know, the card game Speed. God, I loved that game, and I got real good at it too because she was so good at it, and that was like one of my favorite things to do with her. um and so, but I don't think about her a lot, and I not in a shitty way. She just doesn't, she just, what, you know, she just died a long time ago, and she was, you know, I don't have any pictures of her. Like I didn't spend a lot of time with her. Cool lady, her name was Wanda, pretty awesome name. And so like a month ago, I want to say, I was sitting and I was doing my like morning writing where I write all my, you know, I tell you guys I write, like I call it brain drain morning pages, where I just like write everything in my brain, just get it out. And I heard a noise and felt something on my side, and I just out loud said, Wanda? And then I was like, whoa, I don't know why I would say Wanda. That was weird. It was really weird. And I was like, I don't know what that was. But like, so I started writing again. And then a few minutes later, I heard a noise again. And I got up and I was like, it must be my cats. And I walked up, and like my cats were taking their nap and they weren't moving at all. Like I know when they're like deep in the nap, right? I know when they've just settled down. I know these animals very well. And they were like deep in the nap. So it wasn't them. I was like, that's weird. And now I just feel a presence in a part of my apartment, and a good presence in a part of my apartment, and my cats lay in this area and they never laid in it before. And I know that sounds totally crazy unless you believe in that shit, but I don't know. And so I was telling my guy friend, you know, my male friend. It's funny because I got mad at him for calling us friends. I was like, we're not fucking friends. What are you fucking talking about? But I call him my friend on here. I hope he doesn't listen to this because he's gonna think, I don't know, I think he likes me, so I think it'll be all right. But it was just such a funny reaction. I told him that whole thing, and he was like, oh, okay. So, okay. And I was like, you don't think I'm crazy? He's like, no, I don't think you're crazy. I mean, you're wrong, but you're not crazy. And I was like, well, I'm not wrong. He goes, no, it's all right. Like, it was just such a matter of fact response. There was no judgment, no shame, no like, him's crazy, not like you're wrong. There was no condemnation. You know what I'm trying to say? No condemning, none of that stuff. He was just like very matter. Oh, okay, well, that's wrong. It's like, what if I'm not wrong? He's like, yeah, you are though. I'm like, and he was like, it's fine. It's nice that you believe that, and keep believing it. And we're all wrong sometimes, so it's cool. And I was like, and there was nothing I could say, but it was just like the cutest way to just be like, no, I don't believe in that. But there was just no judgment. It wasn't like, oh my God, you believe in what? And I don't know, it made me like him more. I mean, he's for sure wrong. My dead grandma definitely is living in my apartment right now. I think she's kind of moved on. Actually, I don't know yet. But yeah, I don't know why. I don't know if anybody got anything out of that except for thinking I'm totally crazy. But I don't know, I believe in that shit. I think I had a ghost for a while, and I called him Dennis. um you just feel a presence. I have the stereo show with Kelsey Lane, and we were talking about ghosts last night, and her sister called in. I love her sister. She has this crazy deep voice. Like, I have a deep voice, but her voice, I don't know. But she's like, you just feel a presence in your home. Like, it's like when you're laying in bed, and so like you feel like, and so you're laying with your partner and they're laying in bed with you, and it's not just that they're there, you can feel them there. That's how it feels when you have like a ghost in your apartment. And I don't know, the word ghost has just been like commercialized so much that makes you sound, but like a spirit, I don't know. But for a long time, I felt like I had another ghost in my apartment. I think he's moved on. I haven't felt him in a long time, but I called him Dennis, which made me a little crazy, I guess. But I called him Dennis. Well, yeah, I called him Dennis because Cordelia on Angel, the spinoff of Buffy, had a ghost, and she called him Dennis. So I asked my ghost if I could name him after Cordelia's ghost, and I didn't get any negative responses. So this episode's really gone off the rails, hasn't it? I feel like I've just confessed some more crazy shit to you guys. I don't know, but I believe that shit. I think that like thinking that we are only this dimension, this is the only thing that exists, is just really small minded. Like, there's a vast universe. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know. We don't know if there's a God, maybe I'll die and I'll get to hell, and I'll be like, huh, the Christians were right. And they'll be like, yeah. And I'll be like, well, shouldn't have had all that gay sex, I guess. I mean, no regrets. I'm glad to be here. I feel like if heaven and hell is real, then I'm glad that I would be all right being in hell, because I feel like I'd have good company, and I wouldn't want to be in a heaven with a God that it was as judgmental as they say he is, So I'd be like, all right, man, I feel like this will be all right. Yeah, it's really went off the rails. I think it's okay though. I think it's okay. I dated. So I found this picture, and I'm going to post it with this photo. I found this picture of me dancing. I say 10 years ago. Yeah. Oh God, it was longer. It was like 11 years ago. One more year longer. I was dancing. I went to Vegas with my friend Jenny, and she was like my Vegas buddy. She's such a gambler. It was so funny. She was really good at it. So she would always get us like really great complimentary hotels because she gambled so much. And I miss this broad. She moved to Denver, and she married, and all that. But she's just such a cool fucking broad. I love her so much. But we would go to Vegas, and then we'd get, VIP like bottle service shit, because we were like, like 25-year-old girls. And I used to dance. And I found this picture of me like let loose and dancing, and I'm showing my very bare armpit, which is funny because I just waxed my armpits a couple of days ago. I will have codes for you if you want to try the wax I used. I believe this company is going to at least sponsor one episode. I don't know. I got to email them back today, but they did say they were going to give me discount codes. So if you've been on the fence about buying wax and waxing parts of your body, I will give you some discount codes, because I really recommend this company. I waxed my armpits with Sally Hansen last year, and it was so painful and so fucking messy, and it took like 40 minutes. This year I waxed with this wax. I'm not going to tell it to you yet, because I want to give you discounts, and I want you to, if you're going to get it, I want you to go through that so you can, get a cheaper product. But it's so good. It took like 10 minutes, and it was, yeah, you're ripping hair out of your body. It's not going to be pleasant, but it was like quick, very like easy, not too much pain, and not messy at all. So but I posted the photo of me and my armpit, hairy armpit, and then the before and after. I lost 30 followers. At least this time. Last year I did the same thing, and I got 3 males message me to let me know that men don't like that sort of thing. Men don't like hairy armpits. You shouldn't be posting that. One comedian, male comedian, messaged me and told me he was really disappointed in me. I released an episode that was waxing my own vagina last year. It's a fun episode. He was like, "I'm really disappointed in you. I thought you were a funny woman, but you're using your sexuality and your vagina to tell jokes, and it's just really ugly and disappointing." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't ask for your opinion, so kindly fuck off." Then he called me a bitch, a whore, a cunt. He called me a whole bunch of names. And then I was like, "Oh, so I can't talk about my vagina, but you're able to message every female comedian constantly calling them hot and sexy, and you're like 90? Fuck off." His name's Robert Shapiro. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, because like if you scrolled up on all the other stuff, it was just like meme after meme about telling me what a fucking smoke show I was. It's so creepy. I'm like, we don't know it, and never responded. And then I just blocked him on everything. I was like, I don't give a fuck. But it's just so funny that like men have to let me know that men don't like that sort of thing. I mean, my friend, my male friend, he was like, "I am gonna like all of your Instagram photos, but not that one. I'm sorry, I can't get on board with the hairy armpit. I don't even want to look at it." But he was like kidding, right? Like it was like a funny, cute thing. Like he obviously would never tell me not to wax my armpits. But anyway, so the picture I'll post today is another armpit, but it's a young 25-year-old bare armpit photo, and I was dancing, and I look at that photo, and I used to dance. I used to dance. But like, yeah, I used to be so uninhibited about dancing. And then somewhere in my, late 20s, early 30s, I started to get really insecure about it. And I stopped even with myself. And now that I'm doing all this work on myself, I'm starting to dance again alone in my apartment. And it's not like it was like a conscious decision, but when your light starts to go out because of poor self-esteem, and I just had a barrage of demons inside of me. Barrage of demons. Well, that's what the today's dancing, and a barrage of demons. Ooh, that's a fun title. I'm just now going to say it out loud, because if I don't, I'll think about it and then not talk for a little. I'll just ramble for a little bit while I think about how cool that title is. But like I had like a barrage of demons inside of me that just were telling me constantly I wasn't good enough, or you look stupid, or don't look dumb, or you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, you're not funny enough. That fucking like just the like ugly voices that just came from a lifetime of trauma, like like 18 years with someone who was very abusive, and 18 years with another person part-time who was very abusive. And just like the message you get when the two people who are supposed to take care of you and we're supposed to love you the most completely abandoned you. It slowly over the years chipped away at my self-esteem, and I stopped dancing. And I look at this photo, and I'm so happy and uninhibited, and we're in this like busy ass club, but we're like in this like VIP booth with bottle service that we got from some promoter or some shit. And so we're like not like in a crowd dancing, we're like up on a thing dancing, and I'm just like not embarrassed at all. And I just can't wait until I can get back to that place. And I'm slowly getting back there. I'm being easy on myself, because it takes time took a while to wire my brain to believe I wasn't good enough. It's probably going to take more than a couple of months to rewire it that it is good enough. But also the picture, I look really happy. I'm really it was right when I got my bangs too, my beloved bangs. And I started right when I got my bangs and my beloved eyelashes. That was a good year for the Kralski. The bangs and the eyelashes. I got to look like a cartoon princess, and then also cover up my massive forehead that I just never thought. Fucking bangs. My junior year in high school, for prom, I was plucking my eyebrows, and no one had taught me how to do that. And I thought my eyebrow, and which is such a shame, because that's why I don't really have eyebrows now. I'm a a victim of the 90s no eyebrows fad. I was like plucking, and then I plucked too much on one, and then I plucked too much on the other, and then I just shaved them off because I was just like, fuck it. And it was not pretty. And then my friend Brandy came over, fucking Brandy. Brandy came over and she was like, I'll help you fix it. And so the solution was never draw in some eyebrows. What about bangs? Fucking bangs. There was never those two solutions. The solutions were, let's make my hair super big on the top of my head so that maybe it'll draw attention from my no eyebrows. It didn't. It did not. I don't know if anybody, I mean, luckily everybody in that time didn't really have eyebrows, so I don't think anybody gave a fuck. But I look back on it, I'm like, bangs! And I have this massive like forehead that like, anyway, so the picture I'm gonna post, when I got my beloved bangs, my beloved eyelashes. So that Vegas trip, I met this guy. This is such a funny story. I think we're friends on Facebook still. I'm not sure. I should look it up. I met this British guy, and we were dancing, and then I went into the bathroom, and I was quite the partier, and I went in the bathroom and I puked, and I came out and I was like, I just threw up. And the guy was like, oh, I don't want to kiss you if you just threw up. And I was like, oh, I brushed my teeth. He's like, you did? And I was like, yeah, I didn't. I washed it out, chewed some gum for a little bit. And those Vegas bathrooms have like mouthwash, I think. I don't know. I like did a Band-Aid to a non-Band-Aid situation. But I was like, yeah. He goes, how'd you brush your teeth? And then I pulled up my purse that was like maybe the size of my hand. And I was like, oh, I carry a toothbrush. And he was like, oh, okay. So we started making out. And then he tells me he has a girlfriend. And I was like, oh, dude, I don't want to be a part of that. He goes, but I'm going to break up with her on Monday. And I was like, all right, man, well, and he lived in LA. And I was like, all right, man, well, here's my phone number. Call me when you break up with her, but I'm not going to continue this tonight if you have a girlfriend. And he was like, okay. And I literally thought I'd never hear from the guy again. Thought it was over. That Monday he calls me and he's like, hi. And I'm like, hi. And he's like, hey, so I broke up with my girlfriend. I'm like, oh, that wasn't a line to fuck me in Vegas? And he goes, no, I really like you. And I was like, all right. I dated this dude. We never had sex. So that's good for me because I didn't know his name. I dated this dude for like 2 weeks. We hung out for like a lot, 2 weeks. And I had no idea what his name was. And I know, like, I tried to steal his ID, but I guess I had stole it drunkenly in Vegas. So he's like super guarded about it. He's like, why would you steal? You kept trying to steal my ID in Vegas. Why are you trying to steal it now? And I'm like, well, because I didn't know your name in Vegas. And I wish drunk Kim would have remembered your name, but she did not. And so he kept trying to steal his ID. So he's really guarded about his ID, which is a bummer. And then when I was like, all right, well, I'll call him. And like, believe me, you're all thinking like the different ways I could have found out this guy's names. I thought about it. It was 2 weeks where I was like, I don't know his fucking name. I knew his best friend's name was Harry. I knew Harry because I met Harry with him. And it was like, oh, Harry, fuck, how do I know? Harry is like some famous British actor now, which is so funny. But I was like, I had no idea. So like, I know all this stuff you're thinking about of like how I could remember this dude's name. No, I was like, okay, I'll call him at an obscure hour and then I'll get his voicemail. And on people's voicemails, they usually say their name. This motherfucker answered every time I called. Every time. And that's not a thing to complain about. Everybody wants their person they're dating to always answer when they call. That's nice. It was nice of him. He was a good dude. And then I was like, all right, well, then I just won't answer when he calls. And then he'll have to be like, hi, it's so-and-so. And that didn't work. He was always like, hey, babe, it's me. And I'm like, fuck, what's your name? What is your goddamn name? And then he moved, so he had to go back to Europe, and he was like moving back to England or wherever he's from. British guy, I don't. It's unclear to me, that whole section of Europe. I know it's really embarrassing. I don't know much about history. Don't know much about biology. He was like, I gotta go back to Europe, and I was like, oh, that's sad. So he leaves, and one night he's in Europe, and he's calling me, and we were talking on the phone. We talked on the phone a lot while he was there, just because he was like, I really like you. I really miss you. I really wish this thing could have worked out, but I'm going to be in Europe for a long time, so it's not going to. And I was like, yeah, it really sucks. What is your name? What's your fucking name? I mean, the guy was like, I like you so much. I'm like, yeah, me too, I guess. Like, I could never like him. I couldn't tell you anything else about him, except for I know he's married now, and his wife posted a big picture of a really big bunny. Like, I mean, like torso-sized bunnies. You know, those crazy-looking bunnies that look like they're on steroids? And I was horrified. I was horrified. I think about that size of that rabbit every day, every day. Those are the things I knew about him. Because I could never tell if I liked him because I didn't know his name. So I was always like, what's your fucking name? And so what? He's like, yeah, I really wish this thing would have worked out. I'm like, yeah, me too, man. And he's like, we should be friends on Facebook at least so we could keep in touch. And I was like, yeah, Facebook. Oh my God. Why didn't I think of Facebook? Facebook was like fairly new then and wasn't like at the way Facebook is now that everybody had it. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like the way it is now. So because this was like I was like 25. This was like maybe 26, right? So this is a long time ago. And I was like, why don't you look me up? Yeah, look me up. Because I'm in bed and I don't want to get up to my computer or whatever is a good excuse. You go look me up, right? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, do you need me to spell my name? And he's like, no, I got it. It's KYMKRAL. And I'm like, this motherfucker knows my full name. What is his name? It's Anthony. His name is Anthony. He added me on Facebook and he was like, Anthony? Yeah, would never have guessed that. Don't remember that at all. So I dated a British guy. So the photo I post today, you'll see that was the night I met the British guy. I puked and then told him that I brushed my teeth and I didn't. I think we made out before he told. Yeah, we made out before he told me he had a girlfriend. I must have done a good job of covering it up because he didn't seem to mind. Yeah. So that's another thing I'd like to bring up. I'm just going to transition because I have it written down that I want to bring it up, and I've thought about it for a long time. You guys know that I went on my Walking Dead journey last year, right? That I started watching The Walking Dead. I love The Walking Dead. I've watched it now 3 times in the last year. I should be more embarrassed about that. I'm not. It's a great show, and it's kind of a safety blanket now. Rick Grimes is my dream man. Rick Grimes, I feel like everything's gone to shit for them since they let Rick Grimes die. And yeah, Daryl's off in the woods feeling guilty, and it's like, yeah, Daryl, you kind of should, because you listen to Maggie. Maggie, yes. Glenn, I don't forgive Negan for Glenn either. I will never be able to look at Negan and be like, oh, maybe he's redeemed. He literally beat a wonderful man to death with a bat in front of a lot of people while they cried. I know it's a different world, Negan, but like you don't get forgiven for that. You don't. But I also don't believe in capital punishment. And Rick was like, there's got to be a other way. Like, if we just kill Negan in cold blood, we're no better than Negan. And Maggie was like, I can't live with that. And I get it, Maggie. He beat your husband, the father of your kid. I get it. I know I'm going off a really, but was it worth Rick's life? Was it? Do you feel guilty? I feel like in the episodes, I like can't stand her now. Because every time I see her, I'm like, I feel like you're not feeling enough guilt for getting Rick Grimes killed. I feel like there's not enough guilt because your stupid plan to kill Negan got Rick Grimes killed. And Daryl feels the right amount of guilt. So I don't hate Daryl. But Maggie, she's hard to swallow, man. She's a hard pill to swallow because she's not feeling enough guilt. She got Rick Grimes killed. Now, the adult in me, it's like, actually, Andrew Lincoln, the actor, didn't want to be on The Walking Dead anymore, so they needed to figure out a way to get him off The Walking Dead. And he did have a pretty epic death, even though we all know he didn't die. Spoiler alert. If you don't know that by now, it happened like 4 years ago. So there is going to be Rick Grimes movies that are coming out. It was supposed to come out this year, but COVID. So I think it comes out in 2022 or something like that. But like, so he didn't die, but I'm just saying, I don't know what I was saying. Oh yeah, I was like, why did I get on that big tangent? But so you guys know how much I love The Walking Dead. So I just started watching Fear the Walking Dead, which is also very good. It's very, very good. So good. Not a lot of people like it, but I love Morgan. And even before Morgan got there, I kind of loved that little family. I really love Madison. Madison and this guy Strand. If you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, you like The Walking Dead, it's basically like watching the world go to shit with a different family, but actually watching what happened, not like whatever. It's so good. But then Morgan pops in and you just love Morgan. And I don't know, Morgan makes me cry like every episode he's in because he's just such a touching man because he just had so much shit happen to him in this apocalypse. And he just like, and he's, he understands humanity. I can't believe I'm talking about this in such a serious way, but like the character, like Morgan understands humanity and that we fuck up and that like trauma can make somebody do some really bad shit and like everyone should be forgiven and we all deserve a second chance and like we all deserve to turn our lives around. And Morgan, because Morgan had to turn his life around so many times and now he and we all fall and it's just like and I you know like I look at my like black and white thinking and how I'm like, well, that's that. And it's like I'm grateful that I don't have that anymore because people are going to hurt me. People I love are going to hurt me and they're going to disappoint me, just like I'll do the same to them because we're humans. We're humans that are doing the best we can. And like I am doing my best to not cut people out of my life that are doing their best. Do you know, like that voice is like, burn it down, be alone, isolate. Like that's just, but that was how I survived a very traumatic childhood. So I just appreciate that Morgan just, I don't know, Dwight showed up. If you don't watch the show, you don't know who any of these people are. I'm almost done. Dwight showed up and he was like scared of what Morgan would like not let him in the group, right? Because he found this new group. This guy's gonna help him find his wife. He's so happy. And then he sees Morgan and it's just like, oh, I'm not gonna be allowed to stay because of what I did to you and your people. And Morgan was like, dude, it's cool. We've all done a lot of shit in this time that we're not proud of. Or we've all done a lot of shit we're not proud of. And that's just human. I just love the whole metaphor of the whole thing. But the reason why I bring up The Walking Dead is there's been something that's been bothering me for the better part of a year. Do they not have the word zombie in this universe? Like, I understand, like, right? Like, okay, so I know that people are like, we'd call it the zombie apocalypse, but if the dead literally started to rise right now, we wouldn't call them zombies. We'd be so fucking freaked out, and they would be like, it's a virus, it's making this, it's making that, it's making something in your hippocampus, I think, reignite and want brains. But, like, so I understand the first like 6 months not calling it zombies because you're so freaked out about the dead rising and then the fall of society and how you're going to survive. I get it. Maybe the first year you don't call them zombies, but one of those campfire nights where you're all sitting around talking, wouldn't someone somewhere be like, hey, remember zombies? That's what these are. They eat bread, they eat humans, and they're the dead. But never once is the word zombie mentioned. And it's been bothering me for a year. And I'm like, how have we just let that elephant glide out of the room? You know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it really is bothering me. Because I get it. I was like, all right, well, if we were in a zombie world, and we wouldn't call them zombies either, but now they all have cute little nicknames for them, and you'd think somebody would be like, oh, zombies. You're like, oh my God, you're right. They are zombies. I forgot about that. Or do just zombies not exist in this world? I just would like to meet the creator, and I don't know who that is. So I will not meet the creator. Maybe one day I will. I don't know what I'm saying. I think that's the episode, guys. I think it was a wild ride today. I'm happy to be here. I'm just so grateful. I know I say that every week. So I'm one lucky broad. I'm one lucky bride to be learning so much, learning boundaries. And I'm one lucky bride that I have people in my life that are receptive to my boundaries and respect my boundaries and want me to stay in their life. You know, my friend the other day was like, I don't want you out of my life. And I was like, we're just setting boundaries. I'm not leaving. I just got to set some boundaries, man. I'm one lucky broad that I have healthy people in my life now, healthy, loving people. I had a lot of really toxic people before this whole COVID thing happened. Not a lot. I had gotten rid of some, but I had a handful that were just like, and luckily they kind of fucked off on their own. But now it's so cool to just have people that just love and are doing the best they can. You know, they're just trying to be better than they were yesterday. And that's all we all can really do. And the poop scoop. You ready for some poop scoop? I forgot to check my email this week, so I'm really sorry. I'm doing the best I can, man. I'm trying to get more organized in my world. It's I don't know how I'm going to return to society. I really enjoy just hanging out in my room, my apartment. but it's time to return to society soon. California is opening up in, they're saying all the way June 15th, which is so great because I think we're like the best case stuff in the nation and we're opening everything up safely. And I am glad I stood by listening to Newsom the whole time. A lot of people hate him, but now it's like, oh, the guy's actually going to get us opened up safely when everyone else is spiking. Thank you, Governor. I don't know. I don't want to get into politics because people, I don't know. I know he had dinner at that one place. I don't know, guys. I don't know. But so I haven't checked my email. The point of that spiral into like yelling about Gavin Newsom was I haven't checked my email this week. But I want to tell someone else's poop scoop story, and I'm not going to use her name because I don't have her permission. I mean, she didn't say don't ever tell it. I just didn't ask, and I don't know if she listens to this, but if she does, she'll know it. And it's sometimes we just text each other white dress and we just laugh. Like we haven't lived in the same state in a long, long time. She's one of my oldest, dearest friends. I love this woman so much. She's just such a beacon of light, dude. But one time she was living in LA and we were at a bar. We were at Big Wang's downtown. And we were going there to have a couple of drinks and food before we went to this vodka tasting. Like she got us this tickets to this like crazy vodka tasting where you'd go into the ice room and like you have like the big coat on and you like, you know, like the room made of ice and then you drink the vodka. It was a really cool experience. And so we dressed up, went downtown. We're sitting at Big Wang's all dressed up. And she's in this beautiful like $800 dress. I feel she's fine. I'm not using her name. I'm not using any, like, I'm not going to tell you I know this person. We're just old friends. But so like we're sitting there and she's wearing this beautiful like $800 white dress. And she's all of a sudden, she just like gets really quiet and really weird. And she starts grabbing napkins and she is putting them below the bar. And I'm like, well, I can't hear you. What are you saying? And she's like, I sharted. Like, what? And she's like, shh, I sharted. And I'm like, what are you doing with the napkin? She's like, I'm trying to clean it up enough so I could just go to the bathroom. And luckily, for some God-given reason, for like some grace of God, this bitch got zero poop on her beautiful white dress. So we got up slowly. And like she walked in front so I could like make sure there was nothing, and we went into the bathroom and she like took off her stuff and just like cleaned up and then and it was the greatest. I think my favorite is when like beautiful people poop their pants. This woman is stunning. This woman is a woman that you see in the street and you're just like, oh shit, that's a hot woman. And she, oh my God. So every now and then we'll just text each other white dress. And then I assume she gets as much joy out of it as I do because we both just laugh and laugh. Oh, be a poop pants ally. I know I said it in my 15 rules. Be a poop pants ally, man. It's a great way to live your life because the more you are accepting that people poop their pants, the more people will tell you that they've pooped their pants. And everybody needs a little bit of poop stories in their life. Pooping your pants is hilarious. I'm gonna make a t-shirt. Maybe I'll get it out this week. That will say, you've either pooped your pants or your time's coming. Something like that. I think that's a good, but that's your poop scoop. Let's see here. If you get a second, please leave me. Oh, I almost knocked over the whole microphone. Oh, that was a experience. If you get a second, if you could subscribe wherever you get the podcast, if you could rate it, review it, that'd be awesome. I'm gonna read a review right now as I do every week, just to thank you guys who are leaving reviews and thank you guys for listening too. It's just so cool. This comes from a woman that is one of the strongest people I've ever met, and she in her personal life deals with a lot of stuff that is not my place to say, but she is a strong woman. And I met her in college and she's just incredible. And she wrote hilarious 5 stars. This is Mommy Jules. That's not her real name, so I would use it, but she is oh man, she's just a fucking beacon of light. And she just, with everything she goes through, she posts so much honesty and so much hope and inspiration on all of her social media platforms. She's just a fucking, I love her a lot. And I send her all kinds of love. If you're listening, Mommy Jules, I send you lots of love daily in my daily prayers. So I love you lots, lady. So this is from her and says, this podcast is really hilarious and entertaining. Kim was born to do stuff like this. And I love how bluntly honest she is. I'm not sure how She got so lucky to be absolutely drop dead gorgeous and beyond freaking funny. That's so nice. But here we are. I would highly recommend this podcast to others. Oh my God, that's so nice. I think you wrote this last year. So I think like around this time. So I think I haven't read that. I've read all the reviews, but I have a bad short-term memory. But that's so, thank you, Mommy Jules. Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, so if you guys get a second, please leave me a rating and a review, subscribe. I'm on YouTube. I'm on all the other stuff. I just got on Pandora. I just got accepted on Pandora. So if you want to listen to it there, that's also pretty cool. Let's see what other announcements. I do have a Patreon now. I got a couple subscribers. I meant to get this episode out early because the Patreon subscribers are going to get the episodes early. I just wasn't able to this week. I'm sorry, but I will get that out so you can get that perk. So that perk, I don't know if it's perk, but I have a Patreon now. If you want to go to that, it's patreon.com/Kim Kral. Or you can just go to my website and there's a drop down on Crawl Space. I would love any and all support you can give. If you're not able to be a Patreon subscriber, just listening is just awesome enough for me. So I really, really appreciate all that. And then I started doing Crawling Up with Crawl Space, which is a bi-monthly, I think that is twice a month episode where I interview comedians about some depression, addiction, coming out, just something that challenge in their life and how they got over it. And of course I ask them if they pooped their pants and why they're a lucky broad, and there'll be funniness in there too, but just like a kind of like what this is but with a guest. That's out bi-monthly. If you want to listen to the first one, it's up on iTunes and wherever you get podcasts. It was with Michael Malone, and so far I've gotten a ton of great feedback with it. I love the episode. It's super long, so I apologize in advance, but I could talk to that guy for 6 years. He's so smart and so talented and so funny. So take a listen to his episode, follow him and all that stuff, and buy his book, Dead Serious. It's awesome. I think that's it. Yeah, follow me on everything if you're not already. I feel like you are, but it's KYMKRAL. If you want to email me your own poop scoop, or just to say hi, or tell me why you're one lucky broad, or if you hear anything in here that you struggle with and you'd like to learn how I got help, email me that too, and I'll send you some resources. I'm pretty open about all that stuff. At crawlspace@gmail.com. So KRALSPACE@gmail.com. I think that's it. I think that's the show, guys. I hope you're having a good week. I hope you're staying safe and doing well. And thank you so much for listening. I love you all. Bye.